very exciting. One of the other things that we've heard, which is, I think, repeating what we've talked about a lot during this entire event, is the importance of being able to articulate and communicate out the power of analytics in a clear and concise way so that leadership understands what they're working with and can make adaptive decisions to improve health, decrease cost, manage their organizations. And so our next presenter is going to talk to us a little bit about what it's like to actually share those insights out across an organization from a visualization perspective as well as from a storytelling perspective. So come on up, Tony. Tony Nantasari from AmeriHealth Caritas. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here today. How about another round of applause for our three presenters today? Thank you. So thank you for sharing with us your stories. It was very insightful. What I want to share with everyone today is actually how we transform our analytics capabilities at AmeriHealth. So AmeriHealth is a privately held Medicaid HMO based out in Philadelphia. So we're about the 5th largest HMO in terms of revenue. So we're at a little bit over $7 billion. So that's our organization. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is how we marry the three SAS technology together in our analytics platform. I'm sure some of you in the audience are probably licensed for Enterprise Guide, Visual Analytics, as well as maybe some other products. So we actually are joining our Enterprise Guide, SAS Access Engine for Hadoop, as well as Visual Analytics. So to get to where we are today, we definitely had to overcome some challenges in working with our IT department. So definitely I'll cover some challenges we had to overcome, our current solution, what we're doing today, and provide you with a couple of examples about some of the dashboard we create for our executive teams through the browser as well as the mobile BI. We are iPad organization. So a lot of our executives have these at their fingertips through the iPad. So the dashboard examples, and share with you some of the benefits we achieved, as well as some insight as part of our implementation in creating a unified analytic platform. So definitely there were some challenges prior to me getting into the organization. We were heavily dependent on our IT organization, as some of you can relate to, in the sense that we relied on our IT department to load, scrub data, and by the time we get the data from them, it's already too late in the game, right? So basically, we had to find a way to load this data ourselves with the technology that we have. So once the data was made available, because of the sheer volume and size, it was very difficult to do any types of analytics, let alone creating some dashboards to be able to. So some of the issues that we found were query times out, and then the performance was not really, really great. So and then I mentioned a little bit about the volume of data we have to ingest. So in a nutshell, so what happened is that we're not able to provide our executive team with timely information so they can make their decisions. So in this slide, if you look at it, it's like a 30,000-foot overview of what we're currently doing today. So I think I'm trying to find a pointer. This one? Previous. Okay. So on the left side of the box that you see where external data sources, those are some of our databases that we read our data into. So we have our Oracle data warehouses, our Sybase, and other relational database system. And at the bottom with the elephant, that's pretty much our Hadoop platform, our HDFS. So we have permission to read and write into that environment. And on the right side of the picture, you see the three technologies together, Enterprise Guide and SAS Access for HDFS, the Access Engine, that we can do proc Hadoop and write data back and push it out to Visual Analytics and load that into laser memory so that we can create some dashboards. And in this diagram here, I'm just depicting the operationalized of the previous slide before. So what you're looking at here on the left side of the picture is an expanded view of the SAS libraries in our enterprise environment. And I just made a call out of a couple libraries that is shown there with the red boxes. Those are actually Hadoop libraries. So we can actually our data scientists and our SAS programmers are actually writing data and storing that data into our Hadoop engine. And on the right-hand side, to the left of that, is actually still the same SAS library that you see, but one of the libraries that we expose in SAS Visual Analytics, which is the black panel that you see there, we can actually now take data from that Hadoop library and load that up into laser memory into our visual analytics. So what I wanted to show you here, I'm not sure if it's big enough, but a couple of data sets. This is a administrator view of the visual analytics tool. So the first one that's being highlighted, if you look at it, I believe that's over 120 million rows, 90 some columns, but the most important thing is it's 120 gigabyte in file size. And the second one is a little bit on the low end, about 10 gigabyte, not a lot of data columns, but a lot of rows. So basically these, I'm pointing this out because a couple of visualization or dashboard that I built is actually based on this data. And the time to create those things are in seconds, whereas prior to this, we could be waiting for months. So this is one example of the dashboard that I created through visual analytics. And this one is looking at our enrollment data, which is about the 10 gigabyte size that I showed earlier. So the report filter here is actually a calendar year. So the user can drop down and select on the calendar year. And each one of those pie charts represent for our different lines of business or business units, broken out by product groups, right? And then some people who are not inclined to, they'd rather see with the numbers. The bottom grid is just a basic representation of that graph. So basically, they can drill down at each one of those area, and the numbers at the bottom will change dynamically. And then this is an example of our medical paid claims analysis. So here we're looking at the 120 gigabyte files, and those things run really, really fast for being that large data set. So in here we're looking at the filter here that we put is our line of business, so that 100 at the top right, and then we're broken down by paid claims by type of service by calendar year. So you could see how much dollars were paid out by the type of service. So here you're looking at 4 years worth of claims data from that large data set that we expose onto the laser memory. So whatever it looks like here, it looks exactly the same as in the dashboard on the mobile platform on the iPad. And as you notice up at the top, there's section 1, section 2, section 3. So we can actually build out a deeper dive of the story that we're trying to tell. So in the next slide, I have an expanded out view of section 2 of this report. Same data set, just a different type of visualization. So we have member broken out by the first pie chart, the product group, and the members broken out by gender in the second pie chart. And to the right is an actual histogram of a combination of those product group and member shown to supplement the first slide. So our executive teams really love these kind of reports where they can have their information at their fingertips. So as part of the implementation, what we learned was that we're able to create a dashboard from a large data set. And our medical informatics team no longer have to depend on IT to get the data, wait for a month to get the data in. We can actually do this ourselves. So a few members of my team are actually dedicated to being a data loader and doing our visual analytics. So their task is just loading the data, and we have different teams doing the visualization and dashboards. So the most important thing that we found out is that we're now changing the way our analytic teams works. So rather than spending most of their time crunching the data, most of their time is now spent on analyzing the data because the data is already made available to them. So that's one of the key benefits that we found that through this implementation has helped us a lot as an organization. So we now can create enterprise level reports, standard dashboard for the executive team. Like I mentioned before, we're iPad organization, but it also works, I believe, on Android as well as coming up Windows 10. So now we have this awesome tool for our analytics team to utilize. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Snow. So I don't know about you guys, but the combination of these three presentations is actually one of the most encouraging kind of consolidated look at the markets that I've seen in a really long time. A number of reasons. First and foremost, I mean, all three of these organizations kind of motivated with different financial and clinical, kind of underpinnings, different objectives for their organizations. Yet all three of them are following kind of the same journey at kind of the same timeline. Understanding standards, understanding their relative performance, and then using those gaps to improve care delivery and ultimately improve health. It's very rare, actually, that and it wasn't planned. They didn't talk to each other before today. So, I mean, imagine that. But very, very encouraging.